Hi there and welcome to another cooking demonstration presented by Fresh Approach. Today we'll be making Maria's Caldo de Pollo or chicken soup. For this recipe, it will take us about 10 minutes to prepare all our ingredients and a total cook time of an hour and 30 minutes, more or less, to fully cook our chicken and our veggies. And optionally, if you're using rice and pasta for this recipe, it will be a little bit longer. I really love this recipe because you can switch out the different veggies that you use for the soup based on what's in season and what you have at your local farmer's market. It's also high in fiber. There's also a great lean protein source from the chicken, so I hope you enjoy it. To get started for Maria's Caldo de Pollo, here is what you will need. First, you will need one chicken breast without the bone. I'm actually going to double the recipe, so I have double of all the ingredients that you'll need. Here, I seasoned it with just seasonings that I liked and for my preference, so the recipe doesn't call for seasoning. You can just add it if you'd like. You'll also need 8 cups of water that I'll show you shortly that's on the stove boiling. I also have a fourth of an onion, and again, I'm doubling the recipe, so I did half of an onion and I cut them into cubes, but a fourth of an onion for the recipe. The recipe also calls for 1 garlic, but I really love garlic, so I have about 3 cloves here, again doubling the recipe. 3 cloves that I lightly chopped, just so there's a little more surface area for the to get all the flavors from my broth. You'll also need a cup of broccoli. I cut them into smaller, more bite-sized pieces. You can cut them as big or as small as you like, but I cut them up into smaller pieces. You'll also need 1 cup of cauliflower. Again, similar to the broccoli, I cut them into smaller pieces. They're a bit uneven just because of the size of my cauliflower, but I cut them into smaller pieces. And then also a cup of zucchini. I just cut them into random slices. And again, I have a cup here. The broccoli, cauliflower, and zucchini I got from the farmer's market. You'll also need cilantro. I have maybe about half a cup to a third, 2/3 cup here. This is just what I had in my refrigerator, and the recipe doesn't call for an exact amount. So maybe you don't like cilantro, you can omit it, but I have cilantro that adds flavor and garnish as well for my soup. And I just rinse them. Just always make sure you rinse and wash your produce. I also have a cup of shredded cabbage. I cut them into inch slices in just varying sizes. And the recipe calls for 1 cup of cabbage. And then lastly, the recipe calls for some salt, just for seasoning your water as well. And then optionally, you can add noodles or rice to your caldo de pollo, optionally, but I'm going to omit it today just so I can share the base recipe with you. All right, so there's your ingredients. We're waiting for the water to boil. So again, one more ingredient that you'll need is 8 cups of water. Here I have my water boiling on the stove as I'm waiting for the next step. As our water is boiling, we're going to add in our chicken. So I'm going to drop in my chicken breast. This will give flavor to our broth and also all the nutrients from the chicken and the protein, giving us a good chicken broth. We're also going to add in our garlic, our onion, I also salted the water, so make sure you add salt to the water. I'm going to give it a good stir and wait for it to boil. Once it boils, we're going to cover it and let it simmer for 45 minutes while the chicken cooks. So let's keep an eye on it and we'll check back in when it's finally boiling. Okay, now that our water is boiling, we're going to actually put it on low and simmer and put a lid on it, and it's gonna simmer for 45 minutes. We just want the chicken to cook thoroughly because we're gonna remove it and shred it. So we'll check back in 45 minutes. Oh yes, don't forget to turn the water on low. Make sure we turn the heat down Turn the heat down significantly so it's not boiling, it's more simmering, and then I'm gonna cover it and then we'll check back in. All right, it's been about 45 minutes. It is quite steamy under there. This is what it's looking like. We're gonna take out the chicken because we're going to shred it. Then we'll add it back to our soup. So we'll take that out. And within your cooking, at this step, this is where you either add rice or pasta to your soup for an extra 20 minutes before you add your vegetables. That's so the pasta or the rice can cook. But again, I'm not going to do it for this recipe. We're going to hold off and we're just going to go into adding in our vegetables that I showed you earlier. So then we're going to raise the heat back up to medium. And then we're going to start adding in our veggies. We're going to add in our zucchini. We're going to add in our zucchini and I'm going to let that cook for about 5 minutes. While that's cooking, I'm going to start shredding up our chicken. You can either do it with a fork or a spoon. I'm going to use 2 spoons to shred our chicken. As you see, it's already cooked all the way, so it's shredding quite quickly and pretty well. So I think it'll take me less than 5 minutes as the zucchini is going. So again, let the zucchini cook for 5 minutes. All right, our chicken is nice and shredded into pieces. And just a reminder, because we cook the chicken in the broth, we have all the nutrients from the chicken, the flavor, and it boosts the protein of the broth. And also, as we add the veggies in there, we get to enjoy all the different flavors and also the nutrients from the veggies. And this pollo de caldo is also high in fiber because of all the veggies we'll be adding. Okay, 5 minutes has passed, letting our zucchini cook. We're gonna now add in our cauliflower. Add in our broccoli. Give it a good stir and let it cook for another 5 more minutes. It's been 5 more minutes. We've let the zucchini cook down and soften. The broccoli and the cauliflower are still working. Next, what we're gonna add is our chopped cilantro. The recipe again is not specific on how much to add, so you can add as much or as little as you like. So we're gonna let that go for another 5 more minutes before we add in the cabbage and the chicken. Oops, I messed up a little bit. We were supposed to add the cabbage first, but that's okay. We're gonna add the cabbage now, and they'll just both cook for 5 more minutes. No big deal. Just make sure you get a good stir so everything gets submerged and is able to cook. So yes, 5 more minutes, and then we're gonna add the chicken before we plate it and serve it. And again, before we added the cilantro and the cabbage, you have additionally, you can add rice or you can add pasta to add a little more healthy carbs to your dish, to your caldo. Okay, last step, we've let the broth simmer for a bit, let the cabbage really cook down and everything to get nice and softened. We're just going to lastly add back in our chicken, give it a good mix, and serve. You can add seasonings that you'd like again. You can even add jalapenos for more flavor and a little more kick if you like, or just hot sauce to add its own color and flavor if you'd like. But this is about it. Kind of wraps up our caldo de pollo. It's nice and hearty with the veggies full of fiber and, the skins from the zucchini and the seeds from the zucchini, lean protein source from the chicken breast. And I also just love to remember that soup and caldos are perfect because it's full of water. It's great for hydration, even in the warmer and colder months. It can help us stay hydrated. So we're gonna plate that and so you see what it looks like. All right, we're just gonna sprinkle a bit of cilantro to our caldo de pollo and it's ready. I hope you enjoyed the recipe and try out this dish. Is there anything that you would add to this dish? Please let us know, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you.